what can I, as a student athlete, do right now in my recruiting? This is a key question for high school sophomores, juniors, freshmen who are starting to engage the recruiting process right now. And the bad news is that what you can do in your recruiting right now is different than it has been in a typical cycle. Given high school sports, college sports, this NCAA dead period, all these things have changed. The good news is that there is still a lot of things that you as a student athlete can be doing to continue making strides in your recruiting process right now. Um, to continue to advance your recruiting, one key thing is video. If you have video, make sure that it is on your online profile, right? Upload it to your Sports Recruits profile. Have that be the hub for your recruiting. We've talked about these profiles and video to some degree in more extended kind of conversations on the webinar that we did that you can check out on our blog, and some other videos that we've done and blog posts that we've done as well. So feel free to take a look there. But having video on your profile so you can get coaches' eyeballs on your play is really, really fundamental. Now, one thing that I think a lot of families see as a barrier to creating this video is that it needs to be professionally done. It has to have, the crossfades and the professional quality video cameras. And to be honest, it doesn't. It's great if it does. And at a certain point in your recruiting, you might want to go out and source some of that professionally done video. But a lot of this showcase video, a lot of you taking ground ball reps, or your time in the cage, or the bullpen that you throw, these are all things that you can capture a decent view of with an iPhone and a tripod, or a willing parent who's able to hold their hand pretty steady to get some of this footage to have it up in your profile. Right now, that can be enough to give coaches a decent view of you as a player. And because right now they have so much time in their hands, where previously they would have been, going to away series and traveling for the midweek games and running practice for 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. Right now, with the suspension of the NCAA season, they don't have that. So they are spending more time in front of their computers, looking at players' videos, looking at players' profiles, to try to move their recruiting online and digitally as well. So having video up on that profile is really, really key. Using that as a hub of communication. Also really key is proactively communicating with college coaches during this time. As I mentioned, they have a lot of time in front of their computer and in their inbox, and they're trying to still advance their recruiting as a college staff. So sending out that email to a handful of schools that you're really interested in and personalizing them. Dear Coach X doesn't fly. Dear Coach, have the right name, have the right school, insert some reasons about why you might be the right fit for that school and for that program. Really focus on investing some time in personalizing that communication so that it stands out in their inbox a little bit. But it's a really good time to get into coaches' inboxes with a link to your profile, with some video that you have, so that they can start to get a sense of you as a player. Another really key thing that you should be doing all the time as a student athlete to help advance your recruiting is focusing on developing your game. The best thing that you can do for your recruiting to unlock higher levels of your sport at the next level is get better at your sport. So what can you do right now to advance your game? And again, the difficult part is you are not in season as you typically would be. You're not playing a full slate of high school games, high school practices, travel ball, whatever the case may be. But there's still a lot of ways in which you can get better as a student athlete. And also use the online resources and recruit them to help you get better. We covered a lot of these things in a lot of detail and depth on our webinar, so I advise you take a look at that. But the key here is simplifying what you need to do and really getting creative. Work within the constraints that you have right now, but there's still a lot of things that you can do. When it comes to weight training, you don't need access to the whole Globo gym, right? You can do a lot of stuff with body weight and sprint work that can still get your legs stronger and get you more equipped and keep you in condition, in game shape for when things do open back up. So focus on what you can do and really get creative around it. Gamify any drill reps that you do. You can find an outside wall and work on your backhand technique for hours just by throwing that ball off the wall and really working on that fundamental. So focus on what you can do and keep making strides in that direction. It doesn't need to be the perfect drill or the perfect setup or have access to all of this equipment that you're used to having. You can still do a lot of things with minimal equipment. body weight exercises, really simplified pair down T reps or front toss or whatever it is to keep getting better. And it's really, really key that you do that right now, because some kids have access to different things. Work with what you have to keep getting better, and that is ultimately going to set you up for more success once everything does lift and you are able to be playing in front of coaches. You're going to speed up your learning curve. You're going to walk back onto that field not having played since March or February, but the more work that you put in now, you're setting the table for yourself to reacclimate to game speed much more quickly once things do open up and once you do have that opportunity.